Hey, this is a quick little thing of how I do my mixes. Let's listen to this first. This is vocals with all the effects, which I'll go into later, and guitar with effects, and they're both just dead center right now.
So take that photograph, so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh, 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes.
Okay, as you can see, they're kind of competing for the same space. And yeah, you could pan the guitar a little bit one way or the other and stuff, but it's still, you still got like volume competition issues. So what I do pretty much on every single song, so I don't like physically double tracking most of the time unless I want to go for that kind of effect. But what I still want it to sound like a single guitar player and a single part, but I want it to be freaking huge and out of the way of the vocals. Air conditioner. Anyways, so what I do is go to my guitar track. In Logic, you've got a button to create basically clone this track without the data. But you could just start a new track and copy the effects and whatever. So I'm going to click this button. Got a new audio track. We come down here. It's identical to the guitar track. And then I will come up here, grab the wave file, and just make a copy of it. At this point right now, what we've got is a duplicate file. Everything's identical to the other guitar track. Let me go to a different screen and show you what I do with this. Now here's both guitar files in green. Usually I pick like a feature here that I can quickly identify, like this bump here. I take the second track I copied and just drag it a little bit off so they don't phase. If you've got, I can also do it here by numbers. I know that if I change this to 15, it'll get the same desired effect. But anyways, now let's go back to the main screen. Pan one guitar all the way right, one guitar all the way left. Now we're going to have what still sounds like a single guitar player playing a single part, but it's going to be freaking huge. So let me lower the volume a little bit, and it's going to be out of the way of the vocal.
So take that photograph, so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh, 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes.
So now you can see, I could even probably bring the guitar up a lot more. But now it's out of the way of the vocal. It's not competing. It still sounds like one guy. You get a little tiny bit of separation on the tracks because you skewed the waveform a little bit.
So take that photograph, so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh, 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes. Someday soon.
So that's pretty much how I keep that out of the way. I do the exact same thing with the backup vocals. Instead of, one dead center, I do all my backups, compress them, limit them, get them perfect, comp it down to a single track, duplicate the track, skew the second one a little bit, pan them left, right, and then you get the same similar effect. The backups are out of your way. Whoops.
So take that photograph.
And here it is with the lead vocal in it.
So take that photograph.
I mean, it's just my preference of how I usually do things. But also, to show you, let's go back to the original song. I just prepared this for this particular video. Let's see, get out of the way. Back to the full mix. In my full mixes where I put the vocal dead center, and the only thing it's dead center is the kick drum, the snare, and the bass. And the bass is an entirely different frequency range, so that's not competing at all, obviously, with your lead vocal.
So take that photograph, so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh, 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes. Someday soon.
All right, now a quick thing of what I do vocally here. Take everything off the lead vocal and show you real quick what I do there. I bring the vocal in, first thing, compressor.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on.
Again, it's as you can see, it's pretty mild. 2 to 1, minus 15. I just want to get a little bit of pop on some of the transients.
Someday soon you will.
Here's something I do though. I limit the crap out of it. I limit the crap out of it. So watch. I'll turn the limiter on and. Basically, I set the limiter so on the softest thing I sing, I know it's just ready to pop on.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes.
I put a verb on it, just a standard verb.
So take that photograph.
But here's another trick I do to kind of keep things out of the way. Let's look at the delay. I've got a stereo delay on it at a quarter note, so you get like a pumping. Let me set this here back to 50. All right, left and right delays are identical. 13% into the mix. And as you listen to it, it pops on the beat.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on.
Because there's stereo now, this has like a little groove thing, which basically it's the same thing as just tweaking your delay setting by a couple milliseconds. So I'm gonna, instead of 50, I'm gonna change this to 51. So now instantly, the delay, all of a sudden, you've got huge separation left and right, and again, it's out of the way of your vocal.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on.
And then we put that through the verb.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on.
Okay, now I don't know if you noticed, but I've got a second vocal track here. It's called vocal spat for vocal spatial, and what that is like I did with the guitars and the backups. I create a second vocal track, I copy it over, I slightly skew it so it doesn't phase, and here's what it sounds like dry. Actually, I have an EQ on there, but I'm not EQing, I don't think. But here's what it sounds like dry.
So take that photograph.
It's panned all the way to the right.
So you have something to look.
Do some compression on that, a little bit of delay, and put it in a room. Basically, I make it sound like it's the room portion of my lead vocal track.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on.
But here's a little trick I just learned recently. I put a pitch corrector on it, and I think this is the same one in GarageBand. Set it for your key of your song, but set it to like freaking pitch correct the shit out of it, like Cher, really fast, maximum pitch correction, and by itself it sounds kind of freaking lame. But listen to this.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh.
But when you put it in with the lead vocal, it's very subtle, but and it probably could be louder, but in this instance, it's done, so I'm not going to mess with it. But here's the lead vocal, and I'll turn on and off the room.
So take that photograph. So take that photograph.
Off.
So take that photograph.
On.
So take that photograph.
Gives you a little bit of room. Put the delays back on for the lead vocal, and then you end up with.
So take that photograph.
And we'll put the guitars back in, which now we know, how to keep them out of the way. I do this with all my guitars, my acoustics, and what I've found is the further you slide the second track away, the larger the spatial separation you're going to get in your speakers. So you've got, if you want to still sound almost mono, keep it real close, but you just don't want it to phase. So I've got all this monster roaring guitar and all this thick backup stuff, but the lead vocal remains clear and crisp and pretty audible even when you're singing more delicate parts.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh, 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes. Someday soon you will see, looking back on his story, your book of memory.
Again, pretty much that's really, I think, my main secret of what you're perceiving as clarity. It's just everything's out of that center spectrum. The lead vocal, the kick, the snare, and the bass are the only things that are dead center. Everything else I've got kind of spread out. Even if it's only a single performance track, I duplicate it, slightly shift it. I mean, you could do that with a delay effect probably in a bus send. I find it's easier for me just to create a new track. I hate freaking automating, and especially volumes, because the way Apple handles volume automation, once you automate your volume, if you want to tweak, you got to go into the automation later. But I've got a way around that too. I can tell you about in some other point. But that's pretty much it.
So take that photograph so you have something to look back on, like the one that makes you laugh, 'cause Jimmy closed his eyes. Someday soon you will see, looking back on his story, your book of memories, just a book of lies.
And I'm going to go check this and see if I didn't sit here for 10 minutes and do all this for nothing. So this is the first time I'm doing a screencast. So, all right, see ya.